A US citizen accused of killing 19-year-old motorcyclist outside the US military base in Northamptonshire has appeared in a UK court for the first time today. Anne Sacoolas is accused of causing death by dangerous driving after Harry Dunn was killed in a collision outside a military base in August 2019. Let's speak now to our Home and Security editor, Mark White, who is at Westminster Magistrates Court. Mark, thank you very, very much. Just fill us in on what's the latest developments there then, please.
Well, of course, it's taken an awful long time to get to this stage, more than 3 years after Harry Dunn was killed in that collision in Northamptonshire. Anne Sacoolas, through her lawyers, had resisted attempts to return to the United Kingdom. Of course, she'd claimed diplomatic immunity, and there has been, over the years, an ongoing process where the Crown Prosecution Service, in conjunction with the Foreign Office and Anne Sacoolas' lawyers, have come to an agreement where she can take part in legal proceedings via a video link, and that's what we saw today. The first court appearance, having been charged, we're told, she received a written notice that she was being charged on the 27th and that she should attend this court hearing via video link in court number 1 here at Westminster Magistrates Court. She did that. It was just a very brief 15-minute hearing, and she only spoke really to confirm her name, her date of birth, and her address in the United States. Now, she's been granted unconditional bail. The district judge here, though, did say, the chief magistrate did say that she should appear in person for the next Crown Court hearing, which is on the 27th of October, but he acknowledged that there would be an application put forward by both the Crown Prosecution Service and Anne Sacoolas' legal team asking for this dispensation to continue, where she will be able to appear again via a video link. Now, she is charged with 1 count of death by dangerous driving, but her lawyer said that she intends at some point to plead guilty to a lesser charge of death by careless driving. Now, death by dangerous driving has a maximum 14 years jail sentence attached to it. Death by careless driving has a lesser sentence of a maximum of 5 years in jail, but it can also be dealt with via community sentence as well. So that is the charge, we're told, from the legal team of Anne Sacoolas, that she will be pleading guilty to in the fullness of time. But the first or next step we are faced with is this Crown Court appearance at the Old Bailey on the 27th of October, again expected to be via video link.
Mark White, thank you very much. Mark White there, our Home and Security editor outside Westminster Court. Right, well, I am joined now by Nick Freeman, who is a criminal lawyer. Nick, I've seen you twice in a couple of days, actually. We're getting to know each other rather well. I've seen you more than I've seen my own girlfriend recently, actually, but there we go. So, right, when it comes to this kind of stuff, then, obviously it's a bit complicated because we've got someone there with, I don't know, what, diplomatic immunity, is that right? Does it become a bit tricky for a lawyer like yourself?
Well, first of all, we've got to be very careful how we discuss this, because
Yes.
there is, in fact, a potential trial that's going to take place. What we know is that she is charged with death by dangerous, which actually carries a maximum sentence of 20, life sentence now. It was 14. It's a life sentence. The defence have indicated that they would be prepared to plead to a lesser charge of causing death by careless driving, which has a maximum of 5 years, and it's really up to the prosecution to decide whether or not that is acceptable. And if they do decide it's acceptable, then the case will proceed by way of guilty plea. In terms of, first of all, there may or may not be an argument in terms of diplomatic immunity, and I'm not going to make any further comment about that. In terms of whether the Crown want to run a trial by death by dangerous, they would have to prove that her driving fell far below the standard of the ordinary competent and prudent man. So it basically falls on legal definitions, and the low end of dangerous driving and the high end of due care are very similar. So I can't say anything more.
No, of course. No, absolutely. Well, I suppose that's what the trial's for, isn't it? But Chief Magistrate apparently told the defendant. Yeah.
We can't gainsay what the Crown are going to say.
No, absolutely. Well, apparently the Chief Magistrate told the defendant, Anne Sacoolas, that she would be required to appear in person at the Old Bailey for the next hearing.
Yeah.
Can he enforce that? I mean, can that be made to happen?
Absolutely.
Right.
But he's also indicated, and I think it's inferred, that there will be another application for her to appear by video link. They'll have to make the application. If it's granted, then it can be dealt with that way. If she doesn't appear, then there'll be a warrant issued for her bail, and the warrant will be without bail. So at the moment, she's on unconditional bail, but what that means is she must attend the Old Bailey on the 27th. But that is subject to any variation upon application by presumably the defence, will say, look, it's a long way. The case might, if the Crown accept the plea, then she may have to attend. I doubt very much that she'd be sentenced in her absence, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Nick, thank you very much. Just very quickly, can I ask you a slightly personal question? Don't worry, it's not going south. In terms of becoming a so people might know you as Mr. Loophole or whatever. How did you get on in law? Because when the pandemic happened, and I thought that. Well, I mean, the jury's still out as to whether or not my journalistic career has actually taken off, but it was certainly hit the skid when the pandemic kicked off, and I decided to do a GDL, right? How do you get on in law, right? Because I really want to know, because it's a very competitive industry, and I didn't quite figure it out, and thankfully someone came calling, and here I am today, so I didn't have to bother finding out.
I missed about half of actually what you said, but as I understand it, what you're asking me is how do you get on in law? Is that the question?
Yeah, how do you kick on?
Well, you try and be the best you can, and my job, I'm a trial lawyer, and you have a client sitting behind you or somewhere in the courtroom generally, and he or she is going to come to a conclusion, either fantastic, van ordinaire, or absolute rubbish, and that's basically how it starts. And then the press tend to get involved because of the clients, and if you get results, it's a snowball, and it's gone on for a long, long time. So that's really how you do it. You're your own personal advert every time you do a case. So it's down to you. And, of course, if you're getting results, the press do an awful lot for you.
Well, there you go. Yes, absolutely. Your own PR machine. Thank you very much, Nick. Great to have you on the show. Nick Freeman, a criminal lawyer. Right, OK.